My name is John Clifford, and I've been responsible alongside my colleague Ottilia for organising this morning's webinar on the topic of Talent Intelligence Hub, Unlocking Workforce Potential with SAP SuccessFactors Talent Intelligence Hub. Before we get things underway, just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. This morning's session will be recorded. If you'd like a copy of the recording, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Ottilia. We're more than happy to share it with you. Typically when we do these sessions as well, we like to make them as interactive and as engaging really as possible. So if you do have any questions as we go through this morning's session, you'll notice at the top of the screen there is a chat, and next to that you'll have a Q&A button. If you do have any questions, please feel free to submit them. We will have a questions and answers session at the end of this morning's session. So I'm delighted to be joined by three of my colleagues. This is a global event. I'm sitting in Dublin this morning. Barbara's sitting in London. Ottilia and Ida are both in Copenhagen. And we are looking forward to what I'm sure will be an insightful session. So before we get things underway, I'm just going to go through the agenda real quick, just to give people an overview. So we'll do a quick introduction to Gaudi Group, who we are and what we do. Then I'm going to hand it over to Barbara, who will talk a little bit more about what skill-based organizations with TIH look like. We're going to talk a little then a bit about empowering your career development within TIH. Ida's going to do a high-level demonstration just to give you, I suppose, an overview and a look and feel of what the system actually looks like. We're going to then summarize, I suppose, this morning's sessions with some key takeaways. And as I said at the beginning of the call, we'll also facilitate a Q&A session. So really great to see so many people on the call this morning. And on that note, for those of you who may not be familiar with Gaudi, I'll just give you a quick overview. So who are Gaudi? We're basically, I suppose, an SAP Go partner. We're in the SAP space now for over 25 years. A little bit different to other SAP partners in the sense, I suppose, our focus up to quite recently really has just been on HR. And when I talk about HR, I'm talking primarily about SAP HR, from on-premise hybrids to what's relevant today, SAP SuccessFactors Cloud. As I said, we're in the space over 25 years. We're an employee-owned organization with just over 285 consultants. Over the past 25 years, we've grown quite aggressively in the sense that we now really do have a presence right across EMEA and all the way down into the Middle East with 2 offices in Dubai. We're also the largest payroll implementation partner in EMEA with over 50 payroll consultants, servicing over 100 different countries. And it's fair to say, over the past 25 years, we've worked with companies of all sizes, in all industries, in all sectors, and really do, I suppose, provide our customers with what I would call today total workforce management solutions. Along with, I suppose, providing SAP SuccessFactors services, we also have strategic partnerships with other customers that complement our offering, whether that's our S/4HANA offering, workforce software. We also have a strategic partner with the likes of Litmus, ServiceNow. Again, as I said, I suppose providing a lot of what it's fair to say our customers expect us around total workforce management solutions. We also have a relatively new service line, PXMsoft, which is a sister company to Gaudi. And it's fair to say that we've invested quite heavily into this over the last 18 months. And PXMsoft basically provides bespoke solutions for customers, I suppose, who are looking to bridge the gaps within SuccessFactors, whether that's org chart and modeling or whether that's document management or skills management. So I'd encourage you all to have a look at it, PXMsoft as well. And on that note, I suppose, let's get down to what everyone is here. I'm going to hand it over to Barbara, as I said. Just before I get to that, there's a selection of our customers. But as we move along, and as I said, I'm going to hand it over to Barbara, and Barbara's going to give everyone just I suppose, a quick introduction to what SuccessFactors TIH looks like. Morning, Barbara.
Hello. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
So, Before we just jump into the demo, we just wanted to have like a short introduction to Talent Intelligence Hub. Some of you may have seen already our previous webinars, but it's a good recap for those that are joining us for this first time. So we know that for sure 2024 has been a very transformative year for the SuccessFactors HCM suite, with major innovations, in AI or Gen AI use cases, for example, Joel or other AI features. But at the same time, we know that we've seen organizations actually moving faster towards this skills-based approach to talent management, helping the organizations, to better identify, develop, and actually retain the top talent. And this is where Talent Intelligence Hub comes in. We know it's a transformative tool that it has been designed to help, let's say, redefine how the organizations connect their jobs with skills and the growth opportunities the employees have, so they can make this talent management more dynamic or strategic, or perhaps future ready for this approach of a skill-based organizations. And of course, it is powered by AI, so it helps deliver intelligent recommendations and insight, so the organizations can make, let's say, smarter, so data-driven talent decisions. And as I said, maybe not all of you join us on the previous webinars on Talent Intelligence Hub. So I'll just do a quick recap of what is Talent Intelligence Hub, its key elements, before I hand over to Ida, my colleague. So if we think on TIA Hub, essentially it helps the organizations to take this more kind of holistic approach to talent management. So it basically helps enable the organizations to become like truly skill-based as a journey or a final, let's say, goal in their strategy. It has three key elements, Talent Intelligence Hub. Job Profile Builder, that you may be familiar with the tool or the solution, but with the introduction of Talent Intelligence Hub, Job Profile Builder has found an alliance with the Growth Portfolio and the Attributes Library. So basically, Job Profile Builder would manage the job attributes and define dynamic skills-based job roles. It also has the Attributes Library as a key element, which is essentially a repository of attributes type that the organization wants to collect, and also to expand on or expect and show in the workers. And it's not just talking about skills, but it could be any attribute type. It could be skills, strengths, preferences, and of course also competencies that we are very much used to talk about. And then we have the other key element, which is the growth portfolio. This is basically a UI that will display all these attributes, the skills, the preferences, or any other attributes that the system knows about a person. It just helps the, let's find the right word, kind of empower the employee with these intelligent profiles. And then, of course, it helps them just to understand where they are at the moment and where they can go with their career within the company. Because, as I said before, it uses AI to provide recommendations on suggested skills or roles, or perhaps opportunities of growth for the employees. And this is where I kind of hand over to Ida, because on these opportunities or recommendations that the system will provide using AI and the Growth Portfolio or Talent Intelligence Hub within career development, it helps the employee take the ownership on the career path through Growth Portfolio. So basically, they can explore career opportunities starting from the Growth Portfolio. So Ida, if you are ready, I'm just handing over to you to continue further on this discussion.
That's great. And you can already move to the next slide. Yes, great. Yes, so as Barbara just said, I have the pleasure of diving into one of the TI Hub elements that was just introduced, and that is the growth portfolio in SuccessFactors. And before we jump into the system, just a few words on how the growth portfolio can bring value to your organization. So as it says here on the slide, it can help your organization visualize, manage, and optimize the growth and development of your employees. It can be a key tool for aligning career development with business needs, creating a culture of continuous growth and improving talent retention. And I know that is a lot of fancy words, so I would like to transition to the system to get you a more tangible feel of how the growth portfolio can support all of this. So I will steal the screen and then we'll jump into the system. So can someone just say, yes, I can see your screen? Great. Perfect. Good start. Great. So I am currently logged in as an employee into SuccessFactors, and this is my entry point. This is the SuccessFactors landing page. Here I can access all the different tools and features that I need, including my growth portfolio. So in case you decide to enable your growth portfolio, you can have it as a quick action here. You can also search for it here in the action search, or it can be made available in the drop-down menu here. So I am now as an employee navigating to my growth portfolio. I will again navigate to my growth portfolio. Here we are. So I am currently an employee looking at my growth portfolio. I have 3 different sections in here. I have my skills and attributes. I have my roles and aspirations. And then I have my opportunities to grow. And in this demo, I will be diving into all the different sections just to give you as I said, an idea of how the growth portfolio can support all the fancy introductions that was given. But let's start here with the skills and attributes. So the skills and attributes section is essential for understanding both what the employee brings to the table, but also what the employee, where the employee has an interest to grow. It's divided into 4 different areas: competencies, skills, interests, and aspirations. And the employee can add additional ones as they like, and they can also revisit the ones already added in here. So let's start with the exercise of revisiting the competencies that Matthew Moore has in his competency repository. So just entering his different competencies here, I get a full overview of the competencies that are added to Matthew Moore. Some of them are populated by the system based on his job, and some of them Matthew Moore has added by himself previously because he finds them interesting. He would like to develop on these competencies in the future. So we get a full overview of the competencies here. We can see that some of them are marked with a little heart, and that is a competency that is that he finds really interesting or is specifically passionate about. So he can mark all these different competencies with a little heart. Yes, and what you can also see is that some of them are marked with a little core icon, and that are competencies that are marked as core in the organization. So just to give you a little overview and introduction of the competencies here. What you'll also notice is that we have all these different proficiency levels, either in blue or green, and that is also to reflect on where Matthew Moore is currently, how he's doing with this competency, what is his proficiency level. But I'll explain that a bit more when we dive into a specific competency. So what Matthew Moore can do is that he can add additional competencies using the add button up here. So let's try that. Great. So it could be that Matthew Moore has a specific competency in mind. He can search for that competency up here. It could also be that he wants to browse a little bit. Then he can use this library option down here, where you could make different libraries available that could be based on function or something else relevant to your organization. But just to conclude, there are different ways of identifying what competencies that I would like to add to my competency repository here. Great. So adding a new competency, let's go with budget, cost, and control here. And now I can see that that competency is added to my list. As I said, I can revisit my competencies. Let's go with this meeting management. And then I can get a bit more details on my competency. So in this meeting management competency, I have a description just to give me an idea of what this competency holds. And then I also have a few different areas that I would like to draw your attention to. We have the proficiency levels, the development goals, and the opportunity to grow. So the proficiency level is used to assess how well I as an employee performs the competency compared to a defined standard within the organization. So the proficiency rating typically follows a scale that helps identify area for improvement. And we can see the different proficiency levels here. So we have 4 different levels, starting with 0. And if I want to, I as an employee can go in and edit my proficiency level. So if I want to edit my proficiency level, I can hover over the different ratings. Let's say that I would actually be a 1. I can see that that would be intermediate. That would mean I have a solid understanding of this competency. Okay, so after updating my proficiency level, I can click Save. And this is where I would say the magic happens, or where some of the elements come together, because once I have reflected on my proficiency level and updated it, I can start thinking of relevant development goals to develop. So my proficiency level helps me understand what I'm currently capable of and what my next step could be. So after updating this, I can add relevant development goals by using the Create Goal button, simply clicking here. And some of you might know this page. This is the same window as when we create goals from our development goal plan or our performance form. But basically, this is the system asking for different information on my development goals. So that could be attend meeting management course. So that would help me obtain this competency. And we can see here in the bottom of the picture that the goal is already linked to the competency, meeting management. So clicking Save here, I'm already asked to add another one that's a bit ambitious for this demo, so we'll go with just one goal. And now I can see that Matthew Moore has added a meeting management competency. His current proficiency level is 1, and he has an idea that he could move even further by attending a course on this matter. So this is one of the competencies. If we scroll further down, then we see the opportunities to grow, and that is a direct link to the opportunity marketplace. We'll not dive into opportunity marketplace in this demo, but it's basically a marketplace that gathers different offerings in the system, like mentoring, courses, etc., where the employee could also go and find relevant offers that could support the development of this competency. And finally, there's a timeline, and that's because it's really important and valuable to track the development of this competency. So you could always go back here, and would be like a form of audit report, just with a nicer word. You can go back and see how the competency has developed. So that being said, that is our first area of the growth portfolio. We have competency, skills, interests, and aspirations. It's really key for understanding how the employee, what the employee brings to the table, but also where they would like to develop. The employee can enter the other 3 sections as well and add either skills, interests, and aspirations. Something to note is that skills can also be added to a development goal. So you can add development goals from these two areas, and these are simply reflecting interests and aspirations. Good. So that is the first area of our growth portfolio. I'm just leaving time for if you want to write any questions in the chat that we'll take in the end before I move to the next topic. Great. So our next topic is the roles and aspirations. Here I can see my current role. I've been in this role for quite a few years, as you can see here, 8 years. That's my current role. And I also have 2 roles that I currently aspire to. That would be the country VP and the senior marketing manager. These roles are marked as a target role. Great. Let's start with the current role. I can unfold my current role and then go to role details. Great. So this is my current role. I've had it for 8 years. I can get a quick introduction to the role if I, as an organization, have a description, and I can add it here. You can change it as you like, so it covers your needs. And what I can also see is the skills and attributes that are defined to this role. They are divided in 2 categories: skills and attributes to improve and skills and attributes to have. So skills and attributes to improve are competencies where my proficiency level has not met the proficiency level that is defined for that role. So of course, it's really interesting to look into those and to see how I can develop those. Then we have skills and attributes that I currently have and where I meet the proficiency levels that I define for my role. Great. When looking at these different skills for my current role, one thing is, of course, how I feel that I'm doing on the proficiency level, but another interesting thing is to include my manager. So to include my manager and to facilitate a dialogue regarding my role readiness, you could call it, I can facilitate the role readiness form. So clicking this button, which I will pretend that I'm doing now, will launch a form for the employee and manager. So I just moved to a new window, and now we're looking at the form that will be launched when the employee clicks the launch readiness assessment. This form will follow a workflow that we see here on the top. So first, the form or document will go to the employee, and then afterwards to the manager. In this document, the employee will be asked to evaluate the different competencies or skills that are defined for this specific job. So what we can see here is that we are currently in the manager role readiness assessment step. So the employee has already provided their evaluation or rating. So now it's the manager's job to go through all the different competencies or skills and provide a rating that they seem fitting. So for example, here there's a communication competency. They can provide a relevant rating. They can also provide like an evidence or an explanation on why they think that rating is sufficient. They can also see the rating that is provided by the employee. So the exercise here for the manager is to go through all the different competencies that are defined for the current job, provide a proficiency rating, and then afterwards finalize the form here. Once that is done, the rating will update in my growth portfolio. So now I will change the window again and go back to our growth portfolio. So we just saw that the employee launched the role readiness assessment. The employee and manager provided their ratings. And then what we'll see here is that the proficiency levels in here are updated based on the manager input. So after the readiness form is completed, the employee and manager can engage in a dialogue on how things are going, what relevant goals could be added here. And that's also where the Create Goal button becomes relevant. again, this will open the same window as before. We can create relevant development goals to cater for the employee's career development. Okay, let's see if I can click the right buttons. Great, here we are. Again, the direct link to the Opportunity Marketplace is available, where you can go and browse to see if there are different things that could support the development of the current role. Great. Now we have covered the current role. We have looked into how the competencies and skills linked to that role can be assessed by employee and manager, and that you can add relevant development goals to support development of the employee in the current role. What's really interesting, of course, for the employee is also exploring new career options and opportunities within the organizations, and that's also possible here from the growth portfolio. They can use this little button up here that's called Explore Career Options. So Matthew Moore is looking into what other positions or jobs are available here in the organization. He's a bit tired of this account executive. He's been in this position for 8 years, so he is keen to see what is available. So he can click this career option button. And then he's given a few different options in here. So in here, in this Explore Career Options, automatically suggested relevant roles based on the skills and attributes that are added in the beginning of this demo. So that would mean the meeting management competency that we edit the proficiency level on would then trigger different roles here that would include that competency. We can also see that if he has any interest, then that would also trigger any job here. It could also be any open positions in the organization. They would also be available here. This is a demo system. So when you enable Growth Portfolio in your system, you'll have like a longer list going down here. So there's this like Explore Career Options that the system automatically triggers different roles. And then we also have this career path. So 2 different options of kind of browsing and looking into what are my options in the future. So I would like to dive into this brand manager role because I think that could be really suitable for Matthew Moore. But before we do so, then I just want to show you this tool, which is called Career Path. So before we do that, let me just jump into here, if I'm allowed to. No, I was not allowed to. Here it is. Great. So Career Path and the tool that we have here, it's basically if you have the option of defining a career path in your organization, that would be a ladder that you take into new roles. That could be associate moving into consultant, moving into senior consultant, moving into principal consultant. Then you can create those paths in the system, and the employees could navigate career path and see what is the most relevant position when you're looking at my current career path that I could take. So if you have any relevant career path and that would make sense in your organization, then the system can cater for that. And the employee can go and click the role that they find interesting and add it to their future roles. So that is one way of browsing options, positions, opportunities in the organization. But as I said, I have a feeling that Matthew Moore is more like a brand manager type. So he will use the Explore Career Options and click this role here. Great. So when clicking the brand manager role, I get a little description on what this role, a role description. So what does it mean to be a brand manager? And of course, you can add a lot more. This can be amended based on your definitions. But what I also see are the skills and attributes that I defined for this role. So I have skills and attributes that I need to improve, and then I have skills and attributes that I already have. So big relief, Matthew Moore already has the decision-making competency, but there are a few competencies that he needs to work on. If he finds this job interesting, and I think he does, then he can add it as a target role here. So going back to my growth portfolio, under my roles and aspirations, I now see that the brand manager role is added. I can see that it's 17% ready because I already had a competency covered. And then if I go to my role details here on my brand manager, and I see all the same functionalities that we did see when I looked at my current role. So here, if I want to include my manager in this dialogue, I can evaluate my role readiness, meaning that would trigger launching the readiness form. I would get my manager's input, and then of course I can create relevant goals, development goals to support me going into this brand manager role. So now we covered skills and attributes. We looked into roles and aspirations. We looked at the current role. We looked at how you can browse for new target roles using the explore career options, but also career paths. And then the last thing here is the opportunities to grow. Again, I just want to mention that there is a link to Opportunity Marketplace where you can browse different offerings in the system. So that is the growth portfolio, short and sweet from an employee perspective. Yes. And now I think it's over to you, Barbara, again.
Thank you, Ida.
Thank you, Ida. Sorry, I've been answering a lot of questions on the chat at the same time. Hopefully it was helpful as well for everyone on the demo. So just as a recap of the demo and Talent Intelligence Hub, there's always a lot of questions on, okay, how do we prepare? How do we implement Talent Intelligence Hub? Or what's the best approach to go into that, let's say, route? So the first thing that you need to know is that how you prepare. I'll say that you can start where you are. So whatever the data you or processes you currently have, that's a good starting point. And that means, for example, do you already have job descriptions? That's great. Do you have job profiles in place? That's even better. Or for example, if you have other modules connected to skills or attributes, as such, it could be, do you have learning connected to or tagged to skills? That's also a great starting point for data. And maybe you can start small and take it from there. And that takes me to the second key takeaway, which is the implementation strategy. You don't need to go big from the very beginning, and this is it looks like I mean, it's not a module, but it's a solution or a tool, but still it has impact in a lot of, I mean, in the platform and a lot of SuccessFactors modules. So it's also a good start if you start small and then scale strategically. So basically you can begin with a pilot, focusing perhaps on just one or two job families. And then once you are happy with that and understand how the data works and how all the, let's say, integration works, then you refine your approach and just start moving further into all your company job families or job profiles, and let's say the integration with all the other elements in SuccessFactors. And just remember that let's say just adopting Talent Intelligence App is just not about getting everything perfect right away. It does take time, and you need to learn each step and make sure that you get the right insights from the step where you are to move into next step or further down your strategy. Just because think of this as setting the foundation for your future, where you want to be in terms of skills or skills-based organization. Good, and that's me. I don't know if we have like additional questions.
Yeah, so we have time for some more questions. We already have received a lot, which is great.
Okay.
So thank you for that. I have a couple of saved ones here. There is one from Anna that says, can everyone add or remove attributes in the growth portfolio? Barbara, if you would like to answer that one, please.
Yes, and the answer is yes. As any other platform solution or module, this is controlled through RBPs. So access can be granted or restricted based on your organization needs, I would say.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. To follow up with that, how does the manager have or gain access to the employee's growth portfolio? I think, Ida, you would like to answer that one.
And I think that's also a bit in line with your question, Lone, in the chat. So the manager gets access. There's a team overview functionality they can use. Then they have access via the readiness form. And then we hope in the new release to come that they will also have access via what SuccessFactors called people selector. So they can go and see their direct reports, so they can navigate to the growth portfolio of their direct reports.
Great. I have a question from Christina. Do we need additional licenses for AI features in TIH? Barbara?
Yes. I mean, there are different AI features, but for example, for skills or assisted skills recommendations or skills standardizations features, those will require these additional AI units or AI features licenses.
Great. Thank you for that question. Ida, one for you. How can career paths be maintained? From Thomas.
Yeah, so there are like two different options here. You can do like a mass upload that would maybe make sense in the beginning of an implementation where you have a lot of career paths that need to be in the system. And then afterwards, you can go in and maintain each career path and kind of click new job roles on. And of course, I'm supposed to say it's quite easy, but this one is, yeah.
Great. One more. What are the prerequisites for enabling the career worksheet in connection with the growth portfolio?
I
Barbara.
can help you with it. Yeah, I can help you. I've been working on this before. So for career worksheet, so it's a bit tricky. So you need to use the latest career worksheet, so it has the connections to growth portfolio, and to use the latest career worksheet. Of course, you need growth portfolio and talent intelligence, but you also need opportunity marketplace enable to use this. So I think that's the tricky part. You'll still need an opportunity marketplace.
All right. Thank you for that. So I think,
sure.
Do we?
Oh, sorry. Can I answer one more question I see in the chat? Sorry, I was seeing this.
Yes, please.
So it's not a replacement of a succession module. So Talent Intelligence Hub it's supporting all the modules. It's cross-modular, so it will not replace, at least that hasn't been said. And the idea is that it supports all modules. Okay.
All right.
But I think that question makes sense because we are moving the career worksheet from something that used to be in succession to growth portfolio, but we're still keeping everything else as it is, but the career worksheet is moving to the growth portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, unless I have missed other questions, I think we should have answered them all. So thank you very much for a very engaging session. Just before we wrap up, I would like to take time for our next event that will be on the 12th of March. Work reimagining streamlining processes and increasing productivity through AI in SAP Joule. I have just shared the link for if anyone is interested in signing up in the chat. And before ending it, I will just hand it back to you, Barbara, and you, Ida, if you have some last words for this session. Thank you very much for a great presentation and a demo.
Thank you. No further comments. Thank you everyone for joining, and hopefully we'll see you on our next demos. And if you have any questions or you are already on this journey and you need some advisory, please do get in touch with us so we can help you on this journey.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone, and for taking the time today.
Thank you.
Have a great
Have a nice
day.
day. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.